Hello and good morning. Welcome to Today at the Races, presented by Fidelity First. I'm Stanton Salter, along with our odds maker Keith Fustel here on a nice Monday morning as we get you ready for live horse racing this afternoon here at Laurel Park. 10 live races for you. We're off the turf, but that's okay. 3 carryovers. I left a race early yesterday, and here we go. I guess we had some blow-ups in the last race, and we have 3 carryovers for today. So there we go. It's 2,700 right in race 1 for the Super High Five.
Compliments of Annette Eubanks with
In the
a
last race.
35-1 shot.
In the last race.
Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting. Somebody really attacked the late pick 3.
Oh.
I thought that payout was a little light. So whoever kind of banged that number,
right?
Good job. I mean, all the payouts were kind of low. So somebody kind of went all in the last race. They must have hammered Claudio to Kieran to all. I thought that thing was going to pay a lot more than what it did. So, yeah, some really good handicapping there by somebody who knocked out the pick 3 out of the park.
I leave early. I miss Annette Eubanks long shot. We had Kieran McGee, Jose Barnes long shot of the meet the day before. So I had to leave early for the Potomac Pace last night. Keystone Velocity won it down there at Rosecroft with the Frenchman in the sulky, Daniel Dubé.
Daniel Dubé.
Daniel Dubé.
All
So
right.
it was a good race down there, Potomac Pace last night at Rosecroft, and 3 carryovers today. A little over 2,700 in that Super High Five, almost 500 in the pick 6, and over 3,100 in the late pick 5 today with that industry low 12% takeout. So that'll be well played today. We should have a strong simulcast signal throughout the country this afternoon. The handle's been strong all weekend.
Absolutely. I think we'll continue the trend, no doubt about it. We are off the turf today. The main track, we're going to start as sloppy and sealed. Still some moisture, some standing water on the main track, Stan.
Okay, I was
go.
thinking it was going to be a little more dry today, but we had a lot of rain the other night, and so still an off track here today. So all right, well, adjust your handicapping accordingly. Look for some off track runners. Sloppy track today in the 60s. A little cloudy today, but that sun trying to poke its head out here for our 12:30 first race post time. Let's get right to it here in race 1. Race 1 starts that rolling Super High Five, and we have a nice carryover, $2,752, low 15% takeout here on the Super High Five. If they don't hit it this race, that'll carry over until the next race with 7 or more horses. Also, race 1 kicks off your early pick 5 with the mandatory payout, industry low 12% takeout. Keith, you have a ticket. Let's take a look.
Yeah, we're going to ride the early way. We caught the early pick 4 yesterday. We're going to try to get the early pick 5 this afternoon.
You had the early pick 4 with the Tim Woolley first-time starter at a big price yesterday, right?
Yeah.
What did that horse pay?
38 bucks, I believe.
Hopefully
if I'm
you
not
had 5 or
mistaken.
10 across the board.
Yeah,
on it
he
or
was.
something.
We were well compensated on. Thank you, Mr. Woolley. That was good.
He's done well with first-timers down here.
There we go. First race, kicking it off. It's not an easy stretch, but I think there's a little bit of value to be had. 1 and 7 to get you started in the opener. 3 deep in race 2. The 3, 4, and 10. 10, the real suspect horse. I'm not going to leave this horse out of the ticket, but I'm hoping we can beat it with the 3 or the 4 in race 2. Third race, 9, 11. Mining for Candy, I think, is going to do well on the drop from maiden special to maiden claimant. Fourth race, the 1, 3, and 8. And then the 5th, 2 deep with the 4 and 11. They're going to be your favorites. A lot of people are going to probably single into Tiger Eyes. That's a $36 early pick 5 ticket.
It's a nice early sequence. You have that nice maiden special weight in race 4. Nice starter allowance for you in the 5th race. It's a nice starter allowance to kick things off here in the opener. Let's take a look here at race 1. 25,000 starter allowance, going 5.5 furlongs on the main track here in the opener. And I go with the 7 on top here. A little habit of mine from the Hammy Smith barn. Alex Cintron will ride his 3-year-old filly by Mine Shaft. She an okay 4th 2 starts ago against First Level Allowance Company. That race was going 6 furlongs on the main track. I think and then she didn't run very well last out going a mile at all. She showed a little speed that day and then just packed it in. So she cuts back to a sprint distance today. I think she's getting a big class relief dropping from the allowance ranks to the starter allowance race today.
Connection's got to be disappointed with her, though. I mean, she looked like she was a filly with a ton of promise off of that debut run. Took a lot of pressure, dueled, headed, came back to win. Maybe that race just kind of knocked her out. She's never come back to that race on her page. The drop down, they're going to put her in for the tag today. Hammy tough with his claimers. Yeah, she's going to be awfully tough to beat. She might get the good stalking trip coming off of the mile race, turning back in distance. Maybe she can kind of stalk and pounce. I like the 1. Bell's Irish Fancy for trainer Ben Perkins. Horse freshened up a little bit off since September, early September at Monmouth Park. does okay with this type of layoff. What I like is Ben Perkins with his dirt sprinters the last couple years in Maryland, 9 for 35, 16 for 35 in the money with a positive ROI right around 262. Late blinkers on, I believe, after my early PPs came out, but the later version had blinkers on. Bell's Irish Fancy went back to that score, breaking the maiden off the turf race in June. Really sharp from the gate, took pressure and won with plenty in reserve. Bred top and bottom for the off track. Look at the dam by Cuvée. His best race ever was on an off track. Maybe a little bit of a giveaway. I like Bell's Irish Fancy. And that debut run, you go back to August, that was a killer field. August of 2016, I should say. It was a really strong field that she comes out of.
Yeah, the one's dropping here. She's getting a class relief for a strong outfit. She's had a couple nice half-mile works at Monmouth recently for this race. I use her in my exact. I like her. Forrest Boyce might have her hand forced a little early, breaking from the inside here, but she looks like a nice filly that should show up here in this race. A 7-1 for me, 1-7 for you here in the opener. Let's turn the page here. Race 2 to kick off the early. Pick 4 going a mile and a 16th on the main track, claiming 5,000. Haven't won a race in 6 months or never won 4. And I go with the 6, Rare Eagle here. Fergal Lynch aboard the 6-year-old son of Birdstone for trainer Timmy Keefe. He's paired up a couple 61 buyers in his last couple races at this beat and nickel level. He's going 7 furlongs and going a mile his last couple races. So he stretches back out to 2 turns today. He's a 3-time winner at this distance, 9 for 16 overall in the money. He's 0 for 5 here at Laurel Park, hoping he can get off the goose egg today. I'm taking a shot against the 10 like you are. The 10's going to be the heavy favorite here, but I'm going to at least try to beat that horse.
Yeah, don't know really what to do with the 10. Looking back, this is really not a move Jamie Ness has done a lot the last couple years. A claim, a drop. This horse comes off of a good effort on the turf. You go back to its last dirt effort. It was an 81 on the inner dirt at Aqueduct back in March. Has positional speed. Maybe they're trying to just kind of pull one over here. I don't know. I'm sure there'll probably be some takers for the 10. No texting. I took a lot of abuse pre-race by one of our fans. Not going to mention any names. He says, "Oh, you always pick Damon Dilladovico's horses."
Right.
Well, Damon's a good trainer. You know, he does a nice job, and
we have a video here.
And works hard. I like Photogenic right back horse. Likes an off track. Yeah, let's go back to watch the October 21st race. His first race since July, and Photogenic was hung out 5 wide pretty much throughout. You're going to pick him up in the blinkers, moving up into second, chasing there in the red blinkers. Internal's good, 22-4, 46-1. I know he was on the better part of the racetrack. 7, maybe not his cake, but I don't, I don't really care, stretching back out to the mile and 16. He's going to go right to the front here, maybe just off of and hold. He gave way very grudgingly late. Good effort. Hello, It's Me was a tough allowance type of horse coming in for Parks that got that nose victory over the big long shot Captain Alex. Photogenic, I think, has a pace advantage over this field if the 10 is not right.
All right, so I like the Photogenic a little bit in the Maryland Million starter handicap. He ran a decent 4th in that race at a big price. I don't use him in here just like 4 other horses better. Maybe I should have just gone against the 10 altogether. You have him down there at the bottom of your top 4. I use him here in the exacta for Nest and Toledo. Suspicious drop here. He's mostly been running on the turf recently, and you see a lot of times this time of year people dropping these turf runners in for just to sell them off because they don't want to keep them for the winter time. So I've seen Ness do that before. Mary Epler got Oak Bluffs off Ness one winter when Oak Bluffs was taking a plunge. This happens with turf runners. Toby Roth and Hugh McMahon, they've had a couple nice claims the past couple years with droppers. You claim them, you have to give them the winter off and wait for turf season next year. But this horse had a couple decent efforts against restricted company on the inner dirt at Aqueduct earlier this year, so you don't know how tough really those races were.
Let's take a look. He's still got his straight A other than, right? When you break it down, he won the A other than the state bred. And he runs an 81 on the dirt. Let's let him fly for 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, he's the epitome of win or nothing. He's the Ricky Bobby pick, your first or your last. I don't know. Yeah, Mid-Ocean works. He likes Laurel. He comes back to a track that he really likes. He doesn't have a lot of speed. I think that's the biggest obstacle for him. There doesn't seem to be a ton of flow. But, man, look at his record at Laurel. Win from 5 starts with 4 seconds, so never off the board. Likes a wet track, 5 for 8 in the money with 2 wins. He'll be closing late with Karamanos.
I'll throw the 7 Brother Slick Nick into the mix. Alex Centron will ride here for Howie Wolfendale. A big effort at Timonium in the slop. Got a strong 67 buyer with that win by 6 1/4. We haven't seen him since September 2nd. One little maintenance half-mile work November 1st here at Laurel Parks. That was just 6 days ago, so that's pretty good. I'll use the 7 Brother Slick Nick in the mix there for the second race. Let's turn the page here. Race 3. Maiden claiming 25,000 for filly mares 3 and up, 6 furlongs on the main track here. A hunch play for this Edwin Merriman homebred. Number 3, Louise. My favorite dog was named Louise.
Oh, okay.
And this filly by Great Notion. I like the Great Notions out of a Louis Couture's mare, Dream Louise. Edwin Merriman, the breeder, owner, trainer of this filly. Only a couple works to gauge by decent half-mile work from the gate up at Fair Hill back in October. Edwin Merriman, we haven't seen him since he made a bunch of money way back, what was it, 5-6 years ago with Jazzy Idea.
Jazzy Idea.
And then he sold that horse, and then he went to a 2-3 year retirement. Now
Can we get that lucky?
He's running out of money. He's coming out of retirement. So I'll take a shot here with Louise. Lasix in debut. Katie Davis will ride.
I'm sure there's people that just give us money to go ahead and retire, right? So they wouldn't have to see us anymore. But no, Louise scares me just by Great Notion. He very potent first time out stallion. So I wouldn't leave this horse out. I had to shorten up the early pick 5 ticket. I probably should have tossed Louise in, and it probably bodes well. They kept this horse in no matter what.
Right, sure.
Yeah. Mining for Candy will be my top selection, number 9. I think it's bred very well for an off track. A little stat for Larry Curtis over the last 5 years. We went back a little further. This guy doesn't run a ton of horses, but 5 for 12, maiden special weight, the maiden claiming 8 for 12 in the money with an ROI of close to $5. This horse has had trouble trips. Both times, trouble out of the gate, a bump and a stumble, second time out, and was on the negative part of the racetrack in that second start. I think Mining for Candy is forward a long way in today's third.
All right, taking a big drop from the maiden special weight, Jose Montano, good ride and jockey at Charlestown. He's won 86 races this year. The sixth conjecture might be a decent claim here for trainer Noah Abramson. It's tough to claim off Dale Capuano. He doesn't give anything away, but this 3-year-old daughter of Great Notion ran well last out against Maiden 16, coming off the pace, so a little bit of a step up here. Javion Toledo takes the call here, so we're going from a 5-pound apprentice to the leading rider, Javion Toledo, first off the claim.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty steady. She kind of is what she is. She's going to stalk. She'll make a move. Got a little bit of hang in her. Maybe she can get over the hump today. I think she might meet a little bit better horse in the 9 Mining for Candy. Maybe your firster, Louise. Even Snow Queen, I like second off a little bit of a break, stretching back out the 6 furlongs. There's a horse that ran well last October, closed up behind Mine for Keeps 'Tis Our Time. Needed to last, I would definitely say so. Gets some more the added ground. I think this horse draws well, should be rallying.
All right, so take a look here. Race 4, a nice maiden special weight, one of the features of the day here early in the card to kick off the middle pick 4. We're going 6 furlongs on the main track, maiden special weight, 2-year-old fillies, and I go a bunch of well-bred first-time starters for strong connections here. I go to the outside. This horse should be on the best part of the racetrack. Hopefully, the 8 bidding circle, a first-time starter by Kentucky Derby winner Orb for trainer the Hall of Famer Shug McGahee. This horse owned by Stuart Janney. Stuart Janney campaign and McGahee, they campaigned Orb to win the Kentucky Derby. So I'm excited to see Orb's offspring run. They paid $80,000 for this filly at Keeneland. A bunch of nice works up there at Fair Hill, including a couple bullet half-mile works recently, and most recently a bullet half-mile work from the gate. Forest Boys will ride. I'll go with the 8 bidding circle on top here out of a Giants Causeway mare. Should be some nice pedigree all the way around here on the 8.
And they come in here. They don't really catch a big lights-out field. Does the 8 bidding circle, McGahee, Janney. McGahee doesn't win a lot first time out.
Right.
Usually his game second time out. They'll add the Lasixes and the horses improve. Looked at the breeding. The dam was 5 for 9 on the grass. The 2 winning sibs seem to be a little bit better on the turf and the synthetic, but the off-track today might move this horse up. McGahee did come in here, was a year or two ago, with Top Billing, who snuck in with that first. It was a pretty good horse, so wouldn't surprise me in the least bidding circle. I'll take a shot with the 3 Frechette. Second time out. This is an angle we talked about last week with Graham Motion. 2-year-olds with first Lasix in their second career start. 3 for 8, 4 for 8 in the money. Frechette, I think, will make a nice, steady progression out of that debut. He'll she'll rally into the field. Helena the First was a Delacour horse that came out of that race. Key race, won on the turf, but still a pretty nice horse for Delacour. So I like Frechette from off the pace.
Yeah, I looked at that filly when for after the 2 scratch. I looked at the 3 Frechette and I said, well, this is going to be one of the fillies to beat in this race. And then I just end up with four other horses. This shows you how tough this race is. The 6 Make It Run. It's a homebred here for the Governor. Barrington Jones for trainer Larry Jones. A decent debut, was bet down to about what, 3 to 5, 2 to 5 there. But that's okay. We'll give the horse an excuse in debut. She ran okay. She'll run better this time here in her second start. Larry Jones 26% with maidens making her second start. Should get a nice outside run here. This is a nice race here. Brooksy for Augustin Stable, first time starter for Michael Matz. I like the name Brooksy.
And look at the dam, Sanibel. So who's she by? Miss Waukee. That was part of my angle on the Woolly horse yesterday with the off track. So no Lasix for debut. Long line of winners though out of that family. A good family. Could be good for the 7. Brooksy. I think the 1A Super Striking has to be used.
Yeah.
Debut wasn't too bad. Second start, a little trouble at the gate. Was down inside, setting the pace. Aguero Road who was that? Was that a Stidham firster that really circled and ran off nicely? Was bet down, I think, as the favorite. Was bet the favoritism in a Churchill Downs Stakes. Really didn't run that great run of 62, but Super Striking, I don't think necessarily will need to lead this filly here by Brilliant Speed.
It's a nice maiden special weight here to kick off the middle pick 4 here in race 4. Let's get a quick commercial break. The Rainbow Pick 6 starts in race 5 today. We'll take a look at that right after this.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions who make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to support horse racing, to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet, we are racing.
All right, welcome back today at the races. I'm going old school here to change up my luck. Normally I have the computer printouts, but I figured we'd be off the turf today, so I was waiting to print them out until this morning. And computer issues, so I'm going with the old school newsprint daily racing form.
Maybe a little bit more handy for the set, instead of the old paper. That thing would be all over the place. Yeah.
So all right, see if I can change my luck today here with the old school daily racing form. Rainbow Pick 6 starts in race 5 today. A little carryover, a little shy of $500 there. They put I think a little over 1,500 into it yesterday, first day with no carryover. They hit it for 35,000 on Breeders' Cup Saturday. So Pick 6 starts here in race 5. This is a nice 7,500 starter allowance race off the turf, 5.5 furlongs for filly and mares, and I go with the 4 Tiger Eyes, entered main track only here for trainer Anthony Ferrier. Javion Toledo rides this 3-year-old filly, a sharp win, first off the claim for Ferrier at this same 7,500 starter allowance level. So she's 0 for 1 on an off track. That's the only concern, but she's well meant here in this field. Toledo was aboard for the win last out, and he's back aboard today.
Yeah, Ferrier for James Wolfe Super C Racing. They've gone down to Kentucky. They went down to Kentucky, got a couple horses, brought them back. I think there's one in on Friday's race as well, and maybe another one later in the card today. So Tiger Eyes did something I've never seen. The horse flipped in front of the gate, fell hard on its left side, and eventually got backed into the gate and went ahead and whistled. I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
No, you don't see
that. It really overcame a lot. So good to see that she's okay, and she's right back at you, and back in a short amount of time. As is her little rival here. Maybe it might become a rivalry. Lemon Lover.
Right.
We've got a video of that race, right, from the 30th.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Here's Lemon Lover. Might have had the worst of it when you really look at it. She's the 2 horse. Thanks, guys. Circled up, and a little bit of a hop. Maybe a little bit of a light steady there at the break, and had to really rush up in between horses. And you see Lemon Lover move to a slim lead, about 3 or 4 wide. But even further out, Tiger Eyes, still maybe in a better portion of the track, didn't have to be used as hard early, and that was to her benefit. But Lemon Lover really, I thought, stayed on quite well despite the early adversity. Lemon, you see the winner there going to the left lead late, but widening. These two clearly look like the horses to beat. Lemon Lover's going to need a better break, though, today.
Right, she might be the get the benefit of the better part of the racetrack
maybe.
on the
Yep.
outside. The 11 Lemon Lover Centron can get a nice stalking trip. So it's between the 4 and the 11. I throw the 6 into the mix as well. And the red entered main track only here for Rodolfo. Angel Cruz will ride a good second against 10,000 Three Life Company last out. This is going to be a tougher spot today, but she has a good effort last out. Angel Cruz will ride again today. We both like the 6 a little bit here.
Yeah, she might come in for a piece. Yeah, the other horse, really, other than the 4 and 11, they're going to have to move up if they're going to overtake those two.
All right, take a look here at race 6, which is going to kick off that late pick 5. Nice carryover today in the late pick 5. What's a little over 3,100 here. And there we go, $3,129 here in the late pick 5. Industry low, 12% takeout. It starts in race 6. That'll be well played today here, this late pick 5. Let's take a look here. Race 6, 16,000 starter allowance race, going 7 furlongs on the main track. And I don't like the inside post here for the one Sweetest yet, but I'll go with the one, my top pick here, Edwin Gonzalez aboard this 4-year-old filly by Drosselmeyer for Keith Nations. A sharp win against 25,000 Three Life Company last out. So this finds a nice spot here. It's a starter allowance 4 life condition. So Keith Nation is doing a good job finding a good spot here for this filly. She had sharp speed 2 starts ago. Hopefully she can have speed. She's going to need to have some early speed today breaking from the 1 hole. She's over 2 on an off track. That's my only concern.
Yeah, the 2-back try, I mean, if she shows that kind of foot, that might put her on the front end. But she's going to have to break sharp, Stan, because Midnight Romeo has some speed. Intractable might flash a little bit. There was one other one here.
Keep Your Distance.
Keep Your Distance, the other one. I think she's got a little bit more speed going a little bit longer. 7 works for her, though, but yeah, she might be a little bit vulnerable. I was at a tricky time making the morning line favor for this race. At first blush, it looks instantly like Keep Your Distance, but I don't know. Shinkinson intrigues me a little bit for Jamie Ness. Reach in and grab this horse for 16,000. I think she's faced better horses time and time again. Little freshening, a shorten up in distance, and a good draw to the outside. And her best number was on and off track. I think she's got a little bit more speed to lay a little bit closer to this group. I think she can rally into it and maybe pull a slight upset. She could certainly be bet down off of that 7-2 morning line. And I think Truly Hot is another one. Moving in the right direction for Trumbuddy. You see the numbers up, up, up. Didn't really have any help up front last time. I know they went kind of quick, but I think it was She Rolls dictated off the rail the whole way on September 22nd. You see the comment, inside most of the trip and rallied. I think she's going to like the extra eighth of a mile. I think Truly Hot will make a good substantial run. 2 or the 9 to get you started in that late pick 5.
All right, 9 should get a nice trip on the outside going 7 furlongs here. Nest going turf to dirt 20%. I overlooked the 9 there, but probably a must-use there for strong connections in the 6th race. All right, let's turn the page here. Race 7's a nice allowance race here. First level allowance contest for 2-year-olds going 5.5 furlongs on the main track here. And we have a video spotlight of the 4 Stroll Smoking 2-year-old by Stroll here for trainer Wayne Potts.
Yeah, had a tough go of it on October the 8th coming out of the gate. Broke a little bit slowly. You see that, and boom, was squeezed right off the bat. And he recovered. And we're gonna show this one more time because this is critical trouble leaving the gate. Looked like the horse just outside of him kind of dropped in a hair, a little brush, and a steady. But shows good, keen speed. This horse really kind of drug its way up towards the front end. The one horse there, Phone My Posse, again, who's going to be in here this afternoon, has pretty sharp speed. And Stroll Smoking kind of looks like he's cruising, like he's just going to kind of go on with it. And he does open up 3.5 in mid-stretch, but just can't get it done. Weekends late to beaten 3 lengths. Here's another horse looking down to the inside. Look at Big Bella Brown, who's also going to be in this race. A 7-horse today, kind of weaving his way through traffic through the last eighth of a mile. Big Bella Brown comes on nicely inside horses. Good effort there against the grain of the racetrack. So you catch a little horse. You got Stroll Smoking in that video. You've got Big Bella Brown, who rallied nicely against the grain. I think both of them are going to be serious factors in race number 7. I'm going to go to the outside, though, to the 10 5-star Bunt, who will be well down off of that 8-1 morning line. This horse could actually go off favorite. Last race, good. Did it, relaxed after being hustled, then kind of was given a little bit of a breather. moved away clearly under just a hand drive. I think 5-star bunt is certainly moving in the right direction for Rudy Rodriguez. Over the last couple of years, he's had really good success with 2-year-olds coming down to Maryland and sprinting over the last 5 years. 9 for 33 with 2-year-old dirt sprints over the last 5 years with a positive ROI. I went back to the two-back try and keyed up New York Hero. That second-place finisher came back to absolutely gallop for Linda Rice, running a Beyer close to 80. 5-star bunt is moving in the right direction for Rudy Rod.
I used a horse in my top 3. Hasn't run on an off track yet, so that's a little bit of a question mark. That was a state-bred maiden 50 last out. This is a tough allowance race here, and he's in for the 50,000. Why not put him in for the well, I guess maybe they're hoping he'll be better at 3, and you can run for a bigger allowance race up in New York for your first level allowance condition. So that's probably why he's in for the 50. But he'll get a dream trip on the outside. If he likes to slop, he'll be right there. So I use him in my top 3. The 7 Big Bella Brown I use on top had that nice win in the slop in the debut last July. That was against Maiden 25, but made the step up to allowance company last out, and a good second behind VIP Code. VIP Code came back to run second a couple weekends ago at 70-1 in a stake race up in New York. So both the 7 and the 4 coming out of strong races. The 10 will get a good trip. I like the 8 in here as well. Old Fashioned Club for trainer Jamie Nass. Ran a big race on the main track at Delaware, maiden special weight back in June. Get a big 67 Beyer with that win. Didn't like the track at Parks last out at all against Allowance Company. Sometimes horses just don't like that track up there at Parks. The horse ran okay in the slop in the debut, showed a little speed and finished 4th. So I think the 8 Old Fashioned Club, you get Centeno aboard for Nass, I think has a shot to get back in good form here today.
Tricky little race number 7 and 9. I will toss in one more time. I've been chasing Chinkapin. The eye-catching run first time out for me, what I liked. Good game effort, second out. Last 2, I don't really know what's happened. Was inside on Maryland Million Day in the nursery. I think there could be a meltdown here. I wish this race maybe was a little bit further. I do think he's going to make a run into him this afternoon.
Well, I think that nursery on Maryland Million Day was a tough race, so horses coming out of there should do well. Okay, let's take a look at race 8. Nice first level allowance contest, going 6 furlongs on the main track, 3 and up. I go with the 5, my top pick here. Sky Chaparral, my new favorite jockey here at Laurel Park. Jose Barnes with the greatest ride of the meet a couple days ago to win on that Kieran McGee first-time starter that generated the pick 6 payout for a little over $35,000. That was on Saturday, and Jose Barnes had a good ride on this 4-year-old son of Girolamo last out, going 7 furlongs, coming from off the pace. That was a salty group of beaten 7,500 claimers that day, so gets a respectable 72 Beyer. So this isn't too big of a step up to first level allowance company. The horse has won his last 2. He's won 3 of his last 4. He's in very good form. He didn't like to slop back here against allowance company back in October. He didn't like to slop that day, but he's won 2 since then. Jose Barnes, his confidence has to be high. He's riding for some good outfits now. I'll take a shot with a long shot to 5, Sky Chaparral.
What do you do with the 7? Rock and Fellers.
Yes, Sergio Perdina is bringing
one in from
Argentina.
him. Yeah.
Gets
El Presidente, we have to
ride.
call him. He probably knows all the key horses down here. Lasix blinkers go on. Certainly, Brett, absolutely top and bottom. I should relish an off track. Really kind of the enigma horse in race number 8 is the 7. Rock and Fellers. I like Clubman. I think he can turn back in distance against this field. Comes out of the Maryland Million Classic. Got the state bred A other than 3 races back, going 7 furlongs. Showed a little bit more speed even in that race prior on the sloppy sealed surface. Might be an indicator this horse can stay a little bit closer. Not a ton of speed. Discreet Heat ran awfully well. Got bet down in the return try first time for, I should say second time for Schoenthal. So Discreet Heat, probably your one to catch. That's number 4.
I use a 4 in my top 4. Looks like we the same 4 horses mostly here. Yeah, Clubman. It might be a little too short for Clubman, but he'll be running late with Sheldon Russell aboard. We both like the 1A Tam attack here for Anthony Ferrier, getting back on the preferred surface today for this Warfront 3-year-old.
That horse intrigues me a little bit. I don't know what happened. I like that horse on the turf. Went back, looked at the breeding. Now, granted, you've got a $270,000 purchase that the prior connections were ready to get rid of.
Right.
That's definitely a negative. So But this horse came on quite well the last eighth of a mile. Broke from the inside, was kind of drafted back, well off the pace. Now moving back probably to a preferred surface. Feria, a positive stat, second off the claim the last couple years. 3 for 13, 10 for 13 in the money with an ROI of $3. So Tam Tam Attack, I'll give one more shot and definitely use in the exactas and tries.
All right, nice allowance race there in the 8th race. Let's take a look here. Race 9, feature of the day, a 2 other than allowance condition. Optional claiming 25,000, going 5.5 furlongs on the main track. And I go to the outside here. The 10 entered main track only. Mr. Benz first off the claim for the leading trainer, Claudio Gonzalez. You get Joe Moore Torres to ride. This 5-year-old son of Go Sapper in good form right now. He's won his last 2. A good win against Allowance Company at Penn back in September. And then a nice rally to win against Open 20 claimers, going 5.5. Last out, same scenario, race that came off the turf. So this race comes off the turf, 5.5. The first time Claudio's 39% first off the claim. This horse will get a nice trouble-free trip on the outside. Hopefully the 10, Mr. Ben's my top pick here.
He's going to ramp right back up to best form. Claudio reached in, got what he wanted. This race comes off the turf onto the main track. J-Rock, my top selection, number 6. I clearly think he has a class edge over this field. This is a horse been competitive in three other thens. Now in for the 25. A little shaky there, but off track, no worries there. 4 for 4 on the money. Hasn't got the win yet. I think this horse, can sit and stalk. New York's finest will have to be used from the inside. American Sailor seems to be pretty one-dimensional for the most part. I think J-Rock gets first run.
J-Rock's getting that's a big drop from 3 other than to 2 other than here.
Yeah.
J-Rock, a 2-time winner at Laurel Park, so I use that runner in the exacta for Hugh McMahon. Let's turn the page here. One more race. A nice maiden 25 here in the finale. 4 maiden 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs on the main track here. Some nice first-time starters in this race, and I'll go with Grand Motion. The 6, Reciprocity, is a gelding today for the debut. The 6 is a gelding. Some nice works up there at Fair Hill on the synthetic and on the main track. You get Fergal Lynch to ride. Lynch and Motion are 29% together. Lasix in debut. A nice post position right here in the middle of the field. I'll go with the 6 on top here, about a 2-year-old by Liaison. They paid $85,000 for this guy as a yearling at Keeneland.
Yeah, for about by a $5,000 stallion, and now back in for 25. Don't know what to do, as you said. Reported first-time gelding. I go to the 3, Rivederci. The blinkers go on. A little drop in class. Blinkers go on as a good, positive financial move for Hugh McMahon. We're going to watch this horse's. We get the last race. I probably put the wrong race in here. Let's go watch him on the turf, kind of chasing the pace down inside that day. 22-1, 45-2. Pretty sharp internal fractions and just kind of fades away. That's good enough, guys. I know we're short on time. The 2-back try was encouraging, though, on the main track. Horse vied for the lead, was banged around at the head of the stretch, and just faded a little bit. You saw this a little bit of a slight fade there. I don't see anybody really as quick as a Rivederci of the horses that have run, with the blinkers going on the engine right to the front with Katie Davis.
All right, that's this horse is going to be one of the favorites in here. I don't have the horse in my top 4, but probably should give the horse a little more attention here. Has some early speed on the inside. I go to the 8 on the outside here. Barley Standing, first-time starter for Mary Epler. The barn with a positive ROI with their debut runners. Caramanos takes the call here on this 2-year-old son of Freedom Child out of a Dynaformer mare. Some nice works over there at Pimlico. I see a couple works in the mud. They weren't very fast, but at least this horse has some experience working on and off track. So I'll use the 8, Barley Standing in the exacta here.
Yeah, I'm going to use the horse, no doubt. Yeah, gets her jockey, her main man, Caramanos. Might want a little more ground when you kind of glance at that breeding. Needs to pick it up off of those 107 works at Pimlico. Timing that horse with a calendar, I guess, huh?
You think?
Well, you never know. They slide in there and get the money.
Might need to do. Well, there's
seen this movie before, right?
First-time starter the other day was Slow Works from Pimlico that got the money and gave somebody $35,000.
You got that right.
6. Marty McGee told me a long time ago, time only means something when you're in prison.
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right, we're out of time. Dave Rodman coming up next. All of today's scratches, then changes. Good luck.
Good luck.